and we'll get going. All right, guys. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Catrina Scott. I am a 7-star diamond here in the West region, and I'm really excited to be able to kind of collaborate with these calls. I hope you guys have taken a lot away from them because they have been fire. So I hope I can bring some awesome sauce to you guys as well today as the last few calls. So I'm not going to share my screen. But I do have some notes here because I have to keep myself on track. So we're just going to talk about mastering the invite, right? So many of us struggle with just sending the dang invite. And really, guys, it's not as difficult as we make it, right? What we do is not brain science. It's not hard. All it is doing the actions. So I say that because I think a lot of us come into it with a different mindset, right? Like, what are people going to think about me and all those things? And if you start by sharing your journey and sharing specific things about your journey, I don't want to say it's attraction marketing and people are just going to flock to you. That's not the case, but it will make that invite so much easier and more genuine and just natural. So that is what I am going to share with you guys today. So with that being said, first of all, you have to set your intention and your vision when you go into the, I should have put a password on this. I didn't even think about it. You have to set the mindset, right? When you come into the invite, you have to know your intention and your vision. Everybody has to mute. Sorry, we got started right on time. When you have a vision of what you're doing and what you want to achieve and know the intention, the invite comes so much easier. So I always go back to this. This is nothing new to you guys, right? Always start with your why. Why are you here? What about coaching keeps you coming back? And you have to get out of your own head with that. You have to lead with the why and not worry about all the other things that come into play, right? The comparison game, all those things have to go out the window, and you focus on your why and share that, and your invite will come so much smoother. Like, I truly believe that everybody on the planet needs this for one reason or another. Maybe it's the community. Maybe it really is the fitness side. Maybe they have a great fitness routine and they love Orange Theory, but they don't have the nutrition, right? There's always something that is appealing to every single person out there. And when I lead with that and that belief, and I speak with conviction, the invite is natural, right? So I also do not have to tell you guys that consistency is key. That is the secret sauce. Like, there is no other secret sauce to this business other than being consistent, because that builds trust. And I will tell you over and over again that consistency will always beat spurts of intensity. So if you go on a huge inviting spree, that's great, but if you don't continue in the trenches in the daily, that doesn't always outweigh the consistency, right? Like, you have to continue to show up every single day in this business. Yes, life happens. We go on vacation, we get sick, all the things happen, but consistency is absolutely key in what we do in our business. Okay, once again, guys, because there's so many people, you got to mute yourselves because I can't focus. Okay, so how do you attract your people? Well, you have to use value over and over again to give, right? It's kind of like the jab, jab, right hook idea. So you have to always be evaluating your own content, right? You need to speak to your 4 to 5 avatars. And I say 3 things that you love. So your 4 to 5 avatars are like your characteristics. And coach better be in that top 5, right? Like, it's not your whole life, Beachbody, and what you do in the coaching world, but it does need to be a portion of what you talk about. So I like to talk about mom hacks. My husband makes dinner every Monday, so I talk about man makes dinner Monday, my coach life and what that looks like on all aspects, what I do in my business and what freedom my business has created, right? The friends and community that has come from this business. I talk about that almost daily because I get comments all the time, like, let me guess, in order to be your friend, you have to be in Beachbody. And I'm like, kind of. I mean, I never really looked at it that way, but all my friends do Beachbody, so it works out that that might be something about this community, right? And then things I like to do outside of all those other things. My hobbies. I love the outdoors and hiking and dirt bikes and backpacking. So once you can dial in all those avatars and what you're speaking to every day, because you guys,
I heard
people like me. Hold on, let me go through and mute some of these people. So you want to speak to you in that avatar, right? And a great way to look at this is go back to your last 9 tiles. I'm talking Instagram, and do those represent at least 5 of those avatars, or is it the same sweaty selfie over and over again? Because we are so much more than fitness, right? And maybe it's a healthy food post, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's date night, maybe it's all the balance of what those are, but you want to talk to at least 3 of those things that you love and 5 of your avatars, right? So another thing that we forget in our posts and how we attract our tribe, that when you talk to someone who's just like you, the invite comes easy, right? Is your transformation. And I don't mean the physical transformation. There was a long time there where I'm like, I don't have a transformation because I've been doing this for 7 years, right? But there have been tons of other transformations outside of the physical transformation. There's financial. I was able to retire my full-time photography business and come home to my 5 years ago, guys. Like, that's a huge transformation, and I still talk about that every day because freedom was a huge thing for me. Like, I already owned my own business, but I was just a business owner, right? I didn't have time freedom that I have today. So those are things you need to be talking about. Your financial transformation, your physical transformation. I talk about emotional transformation all the time. I am such a deeper person today than I was before Beachbody, right? Due to personal development, because coming into this, I really thought that personal development was kind of for crazy people. Like, I didn't need that until I dove into it and was like, yes, every person needs personal development. And that was not only an emotional transformation, but definitely a mental one, right? And it spread to my family. My kids are like, is there a good podcast? My 10-year-old was like, is there a good podcast that you would recommend? You know, and I'm like, podcast? But it's because he listens and sees me listening to podcasts in the car. And my husband got on board and really dove into personal development, and we both do that together. And believe it or not, it was something that saved our marriage 5 years ago. So you have to show results, right? Not just in fitness, but in the business as well. And that is not just, you know, oh, I went from making $3 in my first week of my business or whatever to a 6-figure income. It's talking about what has come along the way, because people want to jump on that moving train. You have to talk about where your business is going. You started as a small team, right? Like, hello, I think we started with a spouse and our mom. And now, you know, I have a team of, I think there's 2,000 people in my overall downline. That's huge, right? They want to get on a bus that's moving. So you have to talk about those transformations as well. And that you're building an online business that, you know, you can show financial and business success in all 4 of those areas as well: financial, physical, emotional, and mental. And as we talk about that and talk about the objections, one that you had and objections that people have publicly, it kind of like puts out the fire, right? People are like, well, you guys, with going public last Monday, hello, that kind of stomps every single MLM, pyramid scheme, chaos excuse that you've ever heard, because there's no way that it's a pyramid scheme if we are publicly traded on a stock exchange. So those are things that you can talk about publicly that kind of combat the objection before the invite is ever even sent, right? Because when people start following you and they love your avatars, they love what you're talking about, they see the success, they see the transformation, and now you're talking about all the objections you had coming in, and maybe things that they are thinking about. I even go, I have the mute button on all these guys. Sorry, I just, if you guys all could mute yourselves, that would be awesome, because I can't multitask that well. When you talk about your objections publicly in your stories, everything from time, money, space, that I'm a busy mom, and how you get it all done, you relate to people. And then get the
you never know, bud.
Okay. So with that, sorry guys, I just totally go off the rails. That's why I have to keep notes, because I can't focus when the background noise pops in. When you stop the objections before they ever come out, you know, you're not going to get that in the follow-up feedback to your invite, right? So how do we do that? How do we create the platform to then send that invite, guys? It's super easy. You have to engage with people, right? We don't cold invite, we don't send anything. Like, you really want to build a team of people that you would really love to go on vacation with. Summit is next week. I hope you guys are so excited with that, and that you're joining your teams. And you want to be with people you want to be around, right? So that is what I look at when I'm making my engagements, is like, who do I want at Summit with me next year? Who do I want on Success Club trip with me next year? I don't cast a net that grabs everybody and be like, oh, anybody is a Success Club member. It's not how I look at it. I don't even care about Success Club anymore, and it comes together naturally, because I think about, that girl looks super fun. Oh my gosh, she's way into soccer. So am I. She's a dirt bike mama. My boy's dirt bike as well. Those are people I want to spend my time with, because we have things in common. When you do that and you create those quality engagements with them, they eventually are going to ask you one about what you're doing, because they're genuinely interested, but you also have conversation to talk about, so those engagements really do become quality, right? So every day I try to do 15 quality engagements. Someone else is unmuted. I hear it ticking. There we go. And then I try to talk to the people based on my 5 avatars. Like I just said, a moto mama is what I call them, right? Like, when we're on the track for long hours, it's really easy to be like, oh, my kids love beach bars and shakes. It's easy in between heats, all those things. It doesn't sound like an invite when I'm just sharing what I'm doing, because I've always believed in this business that I don't sell what I do. I share it, and I find the solution to those around me who could also use it in the ways that I do. Super simple, right? When you are doing your engagements and you're looking for those quality engagements, remember, there should be no mindless scrolling. When it comes to social media, you need a plan, and you need to come in with intention of what you're going to achieve in that time. Like, I know some of you have to work in pockets because you still have a full-time job and whatnot. And, you know, you're like, I have 20 minutes to do engagements. If you get lost in the mindless scrolling because there's so much out there, you're wasting your time. So when you come to do engagements, come with a plan. Tell yourself, I'm going to find 15 new people, or I'm going to create 15 new conversations, or 10 or 5. Whatever your number is, guys, it doesn't have to be big. There are times in the summer right now where I've cut things back quite a bit. And I'm like, if I get 5 quality invites, 5 engagements, and 5 new conversations, I'm totally stoked when I lay my head down on the pillow at night. There's also less busy times than summer where I'm not full-time momming it, right? And the kids are in school, where I can up that to 15 or 25. So you just have to kind of find what works, but make sure the key word here is quality, right? And you want to work on making sure you're also commenting in their feed and replying to all of your comments. That is what engagement is. You don't just leave them a comment or an emoji on their story and then be like, oh, hopefully that comes and circles back. You have to continue the engagement. You have to reply to their comments. It's just like a conversation with a friend. If you get a text message and you reply and then they reply back to you and you leave it, they're like, what the heck happened to her? It's the same on your social media. So how you do this and making it be a seamless process, right? you start engaging, people are watching you, they're in your stories, they're commenting on your post because you're engaging back with them. Now is when you have to get crystal clear on what we do. Okay, and why you do it, not just why we do it, but why you do it, right? If you do energized dance parties in your kitchen, which I love, I think they're amazing, don't just dance in there. Put something of like what you're doing. I'm drinking a pre-workout. I'm connecting with my accountability crew. Whatever it is, you want there to be no question, no gray area of why you're doing it, right? And so if you look at your stories and you don't know why that's there, maybe you need to put a caption. Maybe you need to talk on your stories and explain what you're doing when you're mixing your energize, okay? So just make sure that you're crystal clear on why you drink your energize. It's one of our clean supplements, right? But your shake, I see so many like pictures with their shaker. Well, that's awesome, guys. But instead, talk about the awesome ingredients that are in our shake. Talk about Bacillus coagulus and how it's the strongest probiotic. Talk about all the superfoods in there, or the adaptogens like camu, right? Why do you drink that shake? Is it because your coach told you to? No, everything in this business goes down to why you do it, because that's what builds trust with your audience. So not just, why you drink the shake for better results, but when it comes time to actually get them the challenge pack, they're not like, well, I'll just take the workouts, right? Because you've educated them along the way of why they need the shake, why they need the energize, okay? And let's talk about what recover really does. I mean, whatever you use in your regimen should be things that go on your story. Maybe not every day you talk about recover and energize, but maybe you split it up between the three. And then I think it's important that we talk about that we eat real food, because so often we get caught up in talking about the shake or showing our shake that people think we are like the Slim Fast diet and we just drink shakes all day, right? Show your food, show a healthy meal plan. Go back to what I said in the beginning of give that healthy recipe, give and build the trust. So when you get ready to send that invite after your engagement, they're like, this is the total solution. Because if you educate along the way, there's no question that our product is not worth the price, right? Because of what they get in the total package. Okay, so we know that we talked about our why. When you continue to post your why and talk about your why in your stories and in daily stuff, people will relate to that, right? And then they know, not only is it a deeper level of trust, but they know that you're in the trenches with them, okay? So the most people that are following you and watching your stories, your followers, like let's say you have 10,000 followers, not everybody's watching your story. So you have to continue to post. You have to be over redundant on what you're doing and what we do, because not everybody sees your stuff every single day. Don't make it feel like it's overwhelming or that you're constantly repeating yourself, right? You stop with the sell, you make it fun, add value, and be consistent. That way, after your engagements and your education through all your social media, when you say, hey, I see you've been following along with me for a while. Is this something that you've ever considered doing? Are you on a fitness journey of your own? Would you like more information on what I'm doing or how I got these results, right? You have to show that you're on your way to XYZ, because that's what's going to, or whatever it is, right? You've got to plant that seed, because that's what people are going to follow. That's what they are going to want to go and do with you, right? So this is kind of all about attraction marketing, because the more you put out yourself and build your brand, not Beachbody, build who you are and what you're going to offer, that's when people are going to be okay with the, hey, I see that you are loving on all my content. Did you know you could do this too and get paid for it? Like, there are so many one-line invites that are so easy when you put it all out there. If you continue to put out what you're doing on a daily basis, people don't feel weird about the invite, right? It feels like this is your storefront, and if they've been following you this long, they almost are in a position to expect an invite. I'm not saying I sell it. I'm just passionate about what I'm doing in the daily, that it doesn't feel awkward or weird when it comes time to say, I'm doing this. Okay, so what your audience needs to know, right? You are getting ready to put everything out on your social media so that when you then have your list of like, I've done all these engagements, I love all of these people that I've got in this bucket, and I'm ready to send my invite. You want to make sure that they know that what you do, that it's actually a job, that you're not just a fitness fanatic, right? That you offer health and fitness solutions, and that they can join you to do like a challenge group or join that to do that with you, but also that they can coach as well. So often, you guys, I look at my coaches, I even do my own social media audits, and we don't talk about the coaching opportunity enough. We don't let people know that it's not just a challenge group or a boot camp or a 21-day fitness group or clean eating group. Like, this is a true business. This is life changing. Like I said, I was able to come home full time from my job to coaching, and I want that for everyone. And I'm sure for any of you that have done this and come home full time, if that's what you want that for everyone else too. Right? So you have to talk about that. Otherwise, people do not see that. And then when it's like that invite comes through about coaching, they expect that one as well, because they're like, this is what this girl does and how awesome that she gets to do that, right? So essentially what you're doing is you're using your social media to make them understand that you show up every single day to get results in your fitness and in your business. It's okay to talk about your consistency, right? And that maybe not every day you're motivated to work out, but when you do, it's so worth it. So the things I talk about on my stories, I give myself a little checklist, because you guys, we have a million trackers under the sun, from the business activity tracker to 1,000 on Etsy. I'm sure your upline's created 100 different trackers as well. But I've just found that if I talk about 9 things every single day on my story, I'm set, right? I've covered all the bases. So I talk about my Energize, what it does, how I make it fun, right? Reels, I dance, I mix it while I talk about my day, but I also talk about the benefits of it. I always post 3 to 5 workout clips, right? That not only that it is an inspiration for others, but it's definitely accountability for myself, my team, and everybody I tag in those posts. A fun one I talk about is my thought of the day. Some days it's something funny, simple, stupid, whatever. Like my last one that got massive engagement was Kohl's Cash. It's hilarious. I was like, I think they jack up the prices and then give you this Kohl's Cash for a discount. Like, it had nothing to do with my business. And I was like, how do you guys feel about Kohl's Cash? And the answers were hilarious and engaging, and I shared those, and everybody got involved, and it was just a fun thing to share off a simple thought of the day, right? I always add an invite, whether it's after my workout. It's like a call to action within my stories. I invite straight off my stories. Is this something you would like to do with me? Do you want more information? I take polls, right? But I use my voice and talk like I'm talking to my best friend, so I can create trust. I'm clear on my why I'm doing it and why I want them to join me and how they can do that. If you just say, if you want to join me, take this poll, that's great, but always have like, there's a link in my bio, right? My DMs are always open. You have to give them that call to action of their next step to make that invite easy, right? I always show my shake, how I mix it, what's in it. I highlight specific ingredients in our shake and what they do and how they help. I always am talking, like I said, about Man Makes Dinner Monday or some sort of healthy recipe. Taco Tuesday, how my kids always want pizza on Friday, how I do a spin on that. And you guys can talk about UPF or 2B too in that. Like, it doesn't have to be strictly you, but you have to share all parts of it. I always talk about some piece of my personal development, whether it's my devotional in the morning or something I heard on a podcast. I just talk from my heart and as me about what I'm reading and what I'm doing in the personal development department. Always talk about my team calls or highlight any trainings. Like I talked about this morning, I was preparing what I would talk to you guys about so that people know we work too. Because at the end of the day, the community and everything's great, but I'm here as a CEO building a business, and I want other people who want to come in and work. And the only way that you attract those kind of people is talking about what you do for work, right? They have to know that it's more than just pushing play on a workout and drinking a shake. And then I always highlight my coach life, what I'm doing in my business and my daily life, what I'm doing out with my kids, or the freedom that coaching has created in my daily life. Okay? So once you do all this, it makes that invite so simple because you've created conversations and content that is easily to speak about just by sharing what you're doing. The main thing about mastering an invite, and this is going to sound so silly to some of you, make sure you have something to invite to. It's that simple, guys. If you're just like, oh, I'm going to invite to my challenge group, or I'm just going to invite to the challenge pack, or I guess I'll invite to the coaching opportunity. Get really specific and intentional on what you're inviting to, and the invite is going to be so much easier, right? Even if it's a free bod group, a crock pot group, I don't care. Get an ongoing monthly challenge theme. Like we did Too Legit to Quit last month. It was so fun. We talked about it. It was an insanely large group, but it was because we band together and we invited to that. We got excited about inviting to that as a team. And even if it's not that, if it is just a challenge group, make a hard start and stop date so you literally have something exact and intentional to invite to. The program specific group. Hello guys, we are in the middle of a launch, 6:45, freaking awesome group for everyone. If you are living under a rock and not knowing that this program is literally a functional training program with restorative mobility, that means this program is for absolutely every single person, and every person needs it. I am so excited and pumped to invite to my 6:45 challenge group. I'm like, I'm inviting everybody and anybody because I'm excited about it. Okay. If you don't want to do that, you can do a nutrition group. There are just so many things, a sneak peek, whatever it is, set up a plan of what you're going to invite to so that you're excited to invite to it. And then where do you invite from? Your stories is my number one. I get most of my people from my stories because as I add to my network and then I engage with those people with those quality engagements, guess what they do next? They go check out my posts and they watch my stories, right? Because they're like, this girl is awesome. She's doing this, we have this in common. And then they want to watch my daily life. And then they're like, she's drinking a shake, she's working out. How does she have all this energy? And it's an easy conversation starter for me to just say, hey, I saw you checking out my stories. If you ever want more information on what I do, I'd be glad to share it with you, right? So your story watchers for me are number one. Engagers, anybody that likes or comments on any posts. I also get a lot from Facebook as well, but mostly on posts. My stories don't do that well on Facebook. And then I'm in interest groups, right? I'm in a couple Moto Moms groups. I'm also a big Dave Ramsey fan, Tony Robbins fan. I crew for Tony Robbins. And so I'm in a lot of these other groups where I can gain other followers and friends. I don't invite right into the group, but I'm creating that engagement and flow from those groups that it's a personal invite that comes from there. And then always work your leads. Always let them know what's going on. Invite them to your next groups. I think we get caught up in the fact that we are just given these leads and half the time they don't respond. But I'll tell you what, guys, I have really awesome conversion and retention rate with my leads when I invite them to something free. Why don't you try this out? Hop in this group. Here's the link. I give them the link so that they just have to click it. And then I see them in the group and I engage with them from there. And that's when they become, with 6:45, we can convert them to coach. we can convert them in with a challenge pack, right? From just BOD. And then work your BOD renewals. So often we don't work with the people at our table. This is huge. You have these customers who maybe they've fallen off Shakeology, their BOD's renewing, you're seeing it, it's a quarterly BOD that's renewed 6 or 7 times. Upgrade them to the annual BOD with a challenge pack. That Shake's almost free when you do that, right? Right now with 645, convert them to coach. If they don't want to do it after 30 days, no big deal, they can cancel, but it gives them a sense of what we're doing. And most of the time for me, those people fall in love in that time because I pride myself on awesome challenge groups, right? And always be inviting your current challengers to your next thing, whether it's a sneak peek or your next free group, to keep them engaged. All right. So the big moral of this story is you just have to grow your network, make quality engagements. Don't be scared of the invite, guys, and follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up. You have to keep following up. This isn't a one and done kind of business, right? How many times did it take your coach inviting you to this before you said yes, right? Very few of us was the first time. So remember, it takes 15 touch points of engagement for people to say yes and to like, know, and trust you. So you have to continually show consistency in what you're doing and in your engagements, then present the offer, send the invite, right? The worst they can say is no, and then continue to follow up. I have never had someone say, leave me alone, quit asking me if I want to do this or any of that. Usually they're like, oh my gosh, it sounds amazing, but this isn't the best time. And no doesn't mean no forever. It just means not right now. You know that. So continue to do your consistent actions and sharing and educating your clientele, and then send the invite, guys, because think about this. What if your coach never invited you? That's a huge one for me, right? If I was never invited to this, my life would look completely different. So speak with conviction and use your why when you do that, and people don't take it wrong. Usually they say yes. So that's what I have on the invite process and how I do it. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself. Now's a good time to unmute. Sorry, I cannot focus when there's other things going on. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I'm curious what your free group is that you said you add your lead or you invite your leads to.
Yeah, so
what's that free group that you're doing?
My free group is usually a nutritional based group, right? Thanks, Shirley. I like to do free recipes. I'll also throw up some sample workouts of, because I don't know what program they're doing, but it's usually mine. And it changes. Let me tell you this. I don't create a new free group. My free group is the same ongoing group forever, right? And I add to it. And I'm going to tell you this, I use BOD groups for this. They don't need to put in their credit card. You can simply send them the link. They can do a completely free account without enrollment. And then they're in my database for every single thing I do Beachbody. If they ever order, I'm tied as their coach. So I do run that free group on BOD groups. I love BOD groups. And it changes. Like 1 month might be a crock pot theme, and then the next month, like right now, it's summer. So I'm doing all these fresh and summer recipes. I give them a free e-guide, and that just goes in the files of the group. And I always tell them whenever I change the theme, like, feel free to remove yourself or shoot me a message, and I don't mind removing you. No one ever leaves. No one ever leaves. And it usually re-engages a lot of my people and leads that maybe have been stagnant in that group, right? Like, who have done all my free groups in the past, and then they go MIA for a minute, and then I go, I'm offering a free group. And after the free group, I throw in some workouts, I throw in some meal plans. They're like, I just want to join your ongoing group, your boot camp, right? And that's awesome, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on my free groups. I maybe run a theme change. Sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's quarterly. Like, I literally just put motivational stuff in there. Some things from my challenge group that's ongoing, I repurpose content ridiculously because free groups only work if you put in the work to them, right? I hope that answered your question. But one ongoing group I feel has worked really, really well for me. And I just, you know, add people to that or repurpose it as I'm inviting to it. In my free group, sometimes it's every other day. The cool thing with BOD groups is if you post in like as a workout, it will sync to all your groups. So I'm always showing that I'm in there, right? My shake, my this. And then as far as content, if it's a crock pot group, it's usually like a week. And I post a recipe each week and then I have them post their takeaways. And then it's like they're still in the group, so that might just be one, and then they share, and then the next month they start new. Like my free group isn't like it's posting every single day. It's 1 month I pick a theme, and then that's just the week for that group. And sometimes I'm not even inviting to a free group. I was in the 645 test group, so my focus has literally been 645 for the last 13 weeks. A free group did not go on. No themes in that group for that 13 weeks, right? But those people are there where now I can say, hey, I'm starting my next boot camp of a program I got to help develop. Would you be interested in trying a sample workout, right? Like you're always looking to engage those people back in from your free group. Any other questions? You guys are quiet. All right. Well, Summit is next week. I hope you all are getting together with your teams or doing something with, even if it's in your living room with a few friends. Summit is the most amazing thing on the planet. I'm super excited. It's not live, but live events are coming back. So let's just get through the awesomeness of this summit. I know the speakers are phenomenal. Get through that, love summer, and then go kick that 645 launch, guys. I hope you have an amazing Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat soon.